It was supposed to be warm, comfortable chairs, a glowing fireplace, a host known for kindness. But no one expected this. Within minutes, every question felt like an accusation. Every smile met resistance. Every attempt at warmth quietly shut down. Kelly Clarkson came to talk. Prince Harry came ready to fight. And long before anyone raised their voice, it was clear. This interview would not end the way it began. The studio looked more like a mountain lodge than a television set. A stone fireplace crackled softly in the background, holiday decorations catching the warm amber light. Everything about the space was designed to disarm, to signal safety, calm, and intimacy. Kelly Clarkson sat comfortably in her chair, relaxed, open, exactly as audiences had known her for years. She wasn't holding cue cards. This wasn't meant to feel scripted. It was supposed to be a conversation. Across from her sat Prince Harry. Perfectly tailored dark suit, controlled posture, careful stillness. But his expression didn't match the room. His smiles were brief, his eyes alert. Measuring? Kelly opened gently, her voice warm. "We wanted this to feel a little like home," she said with a soft laugh. "Just a chance to slow things down." Harry nodded slightly. "Yeah, I guess," he replied. The words were polite. The tone wasn't. Kelly noticed, but she didn't push. She never did. "You've been through a lot of change these past few years," she continued. "New country, new rhythm, new—" Harry leaned forward, cutting in. "That framing is kind of tired," he said calmly but sharply. "As if my life didn't exist before." The air shifted. Kelly paused for half a second, then nodded. "That's not what I meant," she said evenly. "I was just— People love simplifying it," Harry continued. "Running away, starting over, reinventing myself. It's all very convenient storytelling." His voice stayed controlled, but the edge was unmistakable. Kelly inhaled quietly. "That's why I wanted to hear it from you." Harry leaned back, resting his arms against the chair. "People usually hear what they want anyway," he said. "Interviews don't really change that." It was the first moment the warmth cracked. Kelly stayed composed. "Then what does being here mean to you?" Harry hesitated, lips pressing together briefly. "You want honesty?" he asked. Kelly didn't blink. "Always." He gave a short smile, tight, guarded. "Sometimes people say they want honesty," he said, "until they don't like what they hear." The fireplace suddenly seemed louder. Kelly tilted her head slightly, still calm. "My audience can handle discomfort." Harry looked directly at her. "We'll see." The tone had changed, not loud, not dramatic, just colder. Kelly tried a softer angle. "When you're not dealing with headlines," she asked, "what actually brings you peace?" Harry exhaled through his nose. "That's one of those questions people ask to feel closer," he said. "It doesn't really mean anything." Kelly leaned back slightly, her smile thinning, but not disappearing. "It means something to people watching," she replied. Harry's jaw tightened. "Not everything needs to be shared." For the first time, the conversation stopped feeling like a dialogue. The room was still beautiful, the lighting still warm. But the atmosphere had changed. Kelly adjusted her posture, instinctively recalibrating. "Okay," she said gently. "Let's talk about purpose then. What matters to you most right now?" Harry didn't answer immediately. His eyes flicked briefly toward the floor, then back to her. "What matters," he said slowly, "is not being boxed into narratives that make other people comfortable." The message was clear. Kelly nodded, thoughtful, but cautious now. "I hear that," she said. Harry didn't respond. The silence lingered longer than expected, and in that quiet moment, Kelly realized something important. This wasn't going to be a friendly conversation that slowly opened up. This was going to be a conversation she would have to survive, and they were only minutes in. Kelly sensed it now, the invisible wall. It wasn't anger, it wasn't outrage. It was something colder, detachment. She shifted slightly in her chair, grounding herself, the way experienced hosts do when a conversation starts slipping off its intended path. "All right," she said gently. "You mentioned narratives. That word comes up a lot when people talk about you and Meghan." Harry's eyes lifted instantly. "There it is," he said, almost amused. It always gets there eventually. Kelly didn't flinch. Well, she's your partner, your family, it's natural. Natural for who? Harry interrupted. His voice wasn't raised, but it was firm now. For people who don't know us, Kelly held her tone steady. For people who see you as a unit. Harry leaned forward, elbows resting lightly on his knees. That's exactly the problem, he said. We're not a brand, we're not a product, but interviews like this always circle back to packaging. The word hung in the air. Kelly nodded slowly. I'm not trying to package anything. I'm trying to understand. Harry smiled again, but this one carried a hint of condescension. With respect, he said. Understanding usually comes with assumptions attached. Kelly exhaled quietly. Okay. Then let me ask it differently. She paused, choosing her words carefully. When you look back at the decisions you've made, the ones that changed everything, do you feel peace about them? Harry's jaw tightened. Peace, he repeated. That's another loaded word. Kelly tilted her head slightly. How so? Peace implies there was chaos of my own making, Harry replied. As if I woke up one day and decided to disrupt everyone's lives. Kelly responded calmly. I didn't say that. But that's the implication, Harry shot back. It always is. The temperature in the room dropped another degree. Kelly crossed her legs, still composed, but the ease was gone now. Harry, she said softly, I'm not here to argue with you. Good, he replied, because I'm not here to reassure anyone. That landed harder than he probably intended. Or maybe exactly as intended. Kelly studied him for a brief moment, not as a host, but as a person trying to find the right door into a locked room. Then, why are you here? She asked, gently but directly. Harry didn't answer right away. The fire crackled, the holiday lights glowed, the silence stretched. Because people expect me to be, he finally said. And because if I don't speak, others will speak for me. Kelly nodded. That sounds exhausting. Harry scoffed lightly. It's only exhausting if you care what people think. Kelly raised an eyebrow slightly. And do you? Harry hesitated, just a fraction too long. I care about control, he said. There's a difference. Kelly absorbed that. Control over your story? She asked. Over my life, Harry corrected. Kelly leaned forward slightly, her tone still calm, but firmer now. Control doesn't always mean shutting people out. Harry's eyes narrowed. And openness doesn't always mean being exploited. The exchange sat heavy between them. Kelly softened her voice again. You know, my show is built on conversation, sometimes messy, sometimes emotional, but always human. Harry leaned back, arms resting against the chair. And yet, he said, even here, I can feel the expectation that I'll say something comforting, something digestible. Kelly shook her head gently. That's not what I'm asking for. Harry looked at her directly now. Then stop asking questions designed to make me relatable. The sentence landed like a quiet slap. Kelly blinked once. I think people relate to honesty, she replied evenly. Harry's lips curved into a thin smile. Only when it aligns with what they already believe. Kelly didn't smile this time. Harry, she said carefully, do you realize how defensive this sounds? The word defensive changed everything. Harry's posture stiffened instantly. Defensive? He repeated, or just unwilling to play along. Kelly took a slow breath. I'm not asking you to play, but you are asking me to perform, he said, voice firmer now. Whether you realize it or not. The room felt smaller. Kelly shifted again, choosing not to push back emotionally. Let's slow this down, she said. Nobody here is attacking you. Harry looked around the room briefly. Attack doesn't always look aggressive, he replied. Sometimes it looks polite. That was the moment Kelly realized the tone had truly shifted. This was no longer about misunderstanding. It was about resistance. She straightened slightly. All right, she said calmly. Then tell me what you don't want from this conversation. Harry didn't hesitate this time. I don't want sympathy. I don't want validation. And I definitely don't want therapy disguised as daytime television. The words were sharp. Too sharp. Kelly's expression changed, not angry, but wounded. This isn't therapy, she said quietly. It's conversation. Harry shrugged. Feels like interrogation with better lighting. A producer behind the cameras stiffened. Kelly held her gaze on Harry, steady and unwavering. Then let me be clear, she said. I'm trying to meet you where you are, but right now, it feels like you don't want to be met at all. Harry stared back at her. Maybe, he said coldly, because every time I let people close, they decide who I am for me. The silence that followed wasn't awkward, it was charged. Kelly nodded slowly, her warmth dimmed but not gone. Okay, she said. Then let's talk about responsibility. Harry raised an eyebrow. Responsibility to whom? He asked. Kelly met his eyes. To the people watching. And just like that, the line had been crossed. Harry's jaw set. This was no longer a conversation he intended to navigate politely. And Kelly could feel it. Something was coming. Kelly felt it before she fully accepted it. This wasn't a difficult guest. This was a guest who had already decided the outcome. She sat back slightly, hands resting together, posture calm but deliberate. The warmth was still there, but now it was guarded. Harry, she said evenly, when I mentioned responsibility, I wasn't talking about pleasing anyone. Harry let out a short, humorless laugh. That's convenient, he said, because pleasing people seems to be the unspoken goal of shows like this. Kelly's smile flickered. This show, she replied, is about conversation. Sometimes that means discomfort. Harry leaned forward again, eyes sharp now. And sometimes, he said, discomfort is manufactured for ratings. The word ratings landed hard. Kelly's expression didn't change, but something in her eyes did. That's not fair, she said. Harry shrugged. Truth rarely feels fair when it's inconvenient. A quiet murmur rippled behind the cameras. Kelly inhaled slowly, choosing restraint over reaction. Let me ask you something very directly, she said. Do you believe every interviewer who asks you personal questions is acting in bad faith? Harry didn't hesitate. I believe most of them are, he said. Kelly blinked once. Including me? Harry held her gaze. I believe you came in with an angle, he replied. Whether you admit it or not. That was it. Not an explosion, not a shout. But the room shifted. Kelly straightened, her tone firming. Not angry, not emotional, just clear. I didn't, she said. And implying that I did is unfair. Harry tilted his head slightly, unimpressed. Then maybe you should ask yourself why it feels accurate. Kelly's smile disappeared completely. Harry, she said calmly, this is the first time in this conversation that I'm going to say this. He waited. You're being dismissive, she continued. Not guarded, not misunderstood, dismissive. Harry scoffed. I'm being honest. No, Kelly replied gently but firmly. You're being combative. The word hung in the air. Harry leaned back, folding his arms loosely. Ah, he said. There it is. Kelly frowned slightly. What? When the guest stops cooperating, Harry said, they're labeled difficult. Kelly shook her head. You're not being labeled, she said. You're being observed. Harry smiled thinly. Same thing. Kelly paused, then spoke slowly. You know, I've interviewed people at the highest and lowest moments of their lives, she said. People who were grieving, people who were angry, people who felt betrayed. Harry listened, expression unreadable. And the one thing they all had in common, Kelly continued, was that they didn't treat the person across from them like an enemy. Harry leaned forward sharply. Maybe that's because they weren't royalty, he said, and they weren't hunted for decades. Kelly stiffened. Hunted? She repeated. Yes, Harry replied. Hunted. You don't get to reframe that just because it sounds dramatic. Kelly kept her voice steady. I'm not reframing anything. I'm asking you to consider how you're speaking to people now. Harry shook his head. You want accountability? He said. Start with the system that built this circus. Kelly's jaw tightened. This isn't about a system, she said. It's about this conversation. Harry's voice hardened. This conversation exists because of the system. Kelly leaned forward now, her patience clearly thinning. Then why agree to sit here? She asked. If you see this as nothing more than a trap? Harry stared at her. Because silence gets punished more than resistance, he said. And because people like you always want to be seen as reasonable. The words were sharp, personal. Kelly inhaled slowly, eyes narrowing just a touch. "People like me?" she asked. Harry realized too late that he'd gone too far. "I mean, media," he said quickly. "Institutions." Kelly didn't let it slide. "No," she said. "You meant me." Silence. The fire crackled loudly now. Harry didn't apologize. Instead, he leaned back again. "If the shoe fits," he said quietly. That was the moment the warmth finally broke. Kelly nodded slowly, lips pressed together. "All right," she said. "Then let's reset the tone." Harry smirked faintly. "Why?" he asked. "So we can pretend this is going well?" Kelly met his gaze, unflinching. "So we can end this with mutual respect." Harry laughed under his breath. "Respect," he repeated. "That's rich." Kelly's voice sharpened, not raised but resolute. "Harry," she said, "respect goes both ways, and right now, you're not offering any." Harry's eyes hardened. "I didn't come here to be corrected," Kelly replied calmly, "and I didn't invite you here to be spoken down to." The room froze. No one moved, no one breathed. For the first time, Harry looked genuinely surprised. Kelly held her posture, her voice steady, but no longer soft. "We can continue this conversation," she said, "but only if we're both willing to engage like adults." Harry stared at her. "Or what?" he asked. Kelly didn't answer immediately. When she did, her words were quiet, but unmistakable. "Or we stop." And suddenly, everyone understood. This wasn't heading toward reconciliation. It was heading toward an ending. Harry shifted in his seat, irritation flickering openly now. "You wouldn't," he said. Kelly didn't blink. The distance between them wasn't physical anymore. It was final. The silence stretched longer than anyone expected. Harry sat back, jaw tight, eyes fixed on Kelly as if daring her to blink first. The fire crackled behind them, festive lights glowing softly around a set that now felt anything but warm. Kelly didn't rush. She had learned long ago that power didn't need volume. "Harry," she said calmly, "this isn't a courtroom, and it isn't a battlefield." Harry scoffed lightly. "Funny," he replied, "because it feels like an interrogation." Kelly nodded once. "That tells me something," she said. "Not about me, about how you're arriving in this space." Harry leaned forward again, irritation spilling through his restraint. "I came here to speak my truth," he said, "not to be psychoanalyzed on a daytime couch." Kelly met his gaze, unflinching. "And I invited you here to have a conversation," she replied, "not to be accused, dismissed, or talked down to." Harry's voice sharpened. "So now I'm disrespectful because I don't perform gratitude?" Kelly's tone remained even. "No," she said. "You're disrespectful because you assume hostility where there isn't any, and then punish people for it." Harry shook his head, frustrated. "You don't get it," he said. "You sit in comfort. I live with consequences." Kelly leaned in slightly, her voice firm but composed. "And you don't get to use your pain as a weapon," she said. "Not here." The words landed heavy. For the first time, Harry looked genuinely rattled. "You're telling me how to speak?" he snapped. "I'm telling you how to stay," Kelly replied. The cameras caught everything, the stillness, the tension, the moment where the interview stopped being an exchange and became a line in the sand. Harry laughed once, short, sharp, bitter. "Unbelievable," he muttered. "This is exactly what I'm talking about." Kelly didn't react. Instead, she sat back, folded her hands gently in her lap, and spoke with clarity that cut through the room. "Harry," she said, "I've tried to meet you with empathy. I've given you space. I've adjusted my questions. And still, you've chosen confrontation." Harry opened his mouth to interrupt. Kelly raised one hand, not aggressive, just final. "I'm not finished." The room froze. "You don't owe me agreement," she continued. "But you do owe this space basic respect." Harry stood abruptly. "So what?" he said. "You're kicking me out?" Kelly stood as well, slowly, deliberately. "I'm ending the interview," she said, "because this has stopped being productive." Harry stared at her. "You can't handle honesty," he said. Kelly shook her head. "No," she replied quietly. I can't enable hostility." The words echoed. Producers shifted nervously. A crew member lowered their camera slightly, unsure whether they were still rolling. Harry grabbed his jacket. "This is why people don't trust media," he said bitterly. "Smile until someone pushes back." Kelly didn't raise her voice. "I didn't invite you to push back," she said. "I invited you to speak. There's a difference." Harry paused, then scoffed. "Enjoy your cozy set," he muttered. "I'm done." He walked past the cameras, past the lights, past the holiday decorations that suddenly looked absurd against the tension he left behind. The door closed softly. Kelly remained standing for a moment, eyes closed, breathing in once, steadying herself. Then she turned to the camera. Her voice was calm, professional, unshaken. "Sometimes," she said, "the most respectful thing you can do, for yourself and for your audience, is to stop a conversation that's no longer grounded in mutual respect." She nodded once. "We wish Harry well." The cameras cut. Offset, the room exhaled all at once. No shouting, no scandalous meltdown, just a line drawn and held. And by the time viewers processed what they'd just seen, one thing was clear. This wasn't a walkout fueled by drama. It was an exit defined by boundaries. What started as a warm conversation ended with a hard boundary. Was Prince Harry being honest, or simply unwilling to listen? And was Kelly right to end the interview when respect disappeared? If you enjoy tense interviews where silence speaks louder than shouting, don't forget to like, subscribe, post this as my items, and turn on notifications for more dramatic, real-time moments like this. More conversations, more pressure, more walkouts coming soon.